Okay, welcome to my presentation. I will talk about the attic of the War and Peace. I'm citizen Felix. Have you ever thought about what ethical principles motivate our decisions in the situation of the war? So, I will explore the integral world of moral conduct in war and peace, and how just war theory can guide moral reasoning. The article of the War and Peace deals with acute moral dilemmas about war and peace and the international relations. War, war raises the issue of the reasonable behind the choices of one how to deploy force and the ethical obligations that arise during the peacetime. Well, let's talk about the just war theory. And the just war theory is a structured guideline based on which the morality of war can be assessed. It is just at below is main conditions of going to war, and just in below is how war is conducted, and just post below is principles of the post-war resolution. This helps evaluate whether a war is morally justifiable and determines how combatants conduct themselves during the war. With the evolution of time, the just war theory has changed to meet the needs of the changing world, as well as the ethics and global circumstances. Modern warfare presents the just war theory with many challenges even as technology advances and the non-state actor gain power. Applying the principle of the just war theory is the first thing we need to do to examining the current conflicts and explore other options for violence in the future to resolve international disputes. the detailed analysis of the just war history, past and present applications permits us to detect many ethical problems in military and peace affairs. Next, we'll talk about the realism and pacifism. Pacifism. The realism underlines that national interest and the power rivalry are the primary driving force in war politics, which often gives rise to the view that war has its place among the means of achieving strategic goals. Unfortunately, pacifism is the opposite of war, which does not involve the violence and puts forward nonviolence as a way to solve the conflicts. On the other hand, that pacifists who are against realism believe that we have a moral obligation to use non-violent approaches to solve any disputes that might arise, which can be done through the dialogue and negotiation. So the realism versus pacifism debate becomes the symbol of the central question about what is the moral reasoning for using power. The detractors suggest that the realism stance can be rugged, rugged, resulting in a lack of the respect for other countries' interests. At the same time, its supporter, its supporters claim it is a pragmatic approach to security problems. Nevertheless, we should also bear in mind that pacifism may meet criticism because it is not entirely uh, real, realistic, and this the ideology could be ineffective in the case of the aggression. And analyzing the different viewpoints opposed to one another is an exciting way to develop the ethical source about war and peace. So for the next one, we'll talk about the ethics of the self-defense. The the issue of self-defense is undoubtedly, undoubt, undoubt, undoubtedly a moral concern comprising such questions as the appropriateness of the violence and the necessity to use the force to safeguard oneself or others. It is rightly considered the most crucial one, and its importance is not important is not a question. Article consideration restricted the number of possible actions that one can justify in self-defense. So the proportionality is the basis for using force, which should go in line with the danger level presented and be carried out to the most minor possible extent that may cause harm to either the aggressor or the defender. The morality of the self-defense is complex, since we're changed to resolve difficult situations like primitive structs and collective collective security systems. Another aspect of the ethical issues is the individual rights are not built in the isolation, but as part of the general societal interests and the international commitments. To understand the dilemmas of self-defense, we will analyze its ethical principles, use them as guideposts for responsible actions in conflict situations, and formulate a legal, a legal frameworks for using force. So for the next one, we'll talk about the religion's perspectives. So religion traditional provides different views on war and peace based on their technological principles and ethics. And the Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are among the most distinguished religions of the world, each with its unique stance on the morality of the violence and peaceful settle, settlement of disputes. Although some religions doctrines that speak about just war concepts, others portray nonviolence and the occurrence of peace by spiritual transformation. The interface, the dialogue is the essential for essential for various religious groups to enhance their understanding and the collaboration. The War and Peace offer a platform for analyzing religion's views on war and peace, leading to a more profound knowledge of the moral values that guide the global conflicts. And the religion doctrines often emphasize the compassion, justice, and the reconciliations in resolving disputes and building better relations among people of different cultures. For the next one is contemporary debates. The modern warfare now poses new ethical predicaments fueled by tech, development and the new security risks. The reliance on drone, cyber warfare, and other such asymmetric tricks and tactics suggest that the moral limits of the military options and the civilian populations are now at risk. Apart from that, tourism, terrorism arises with the unique set of ethical dilemmas that go against to the traditional understanding of the competence and non-competence. The humanitarian interventions try to relieve people's suffering and struggle and protect the populations that cannot defend themselves. Also, they bring out the sovereignty issues and the unintended side effects of the military interventions. The intricacy of modern conflicts shows the necessity of the ethical consideration and the consensual decision making in international affairs. This the deliberation help us create this ethical standards that will bring peace and respect for human rights to grow in the global village. The next one is the weapons and technology. So the development of weapon technology has far-reaching ethical effects and fundamentally changed how war and armed force operate. The invention of the autonomous weapons system raises the issue of the liability and the question of whether it is acceptable to delegate the decision of life and also the death to the machines. The introduction of the non-lethal weapons such as tail gas, and control agents of the rails and raises the ethical questions regarding the effect on civilians. The ethical accountability of the arms trade and military innovation necessitates deep thinking on human rights and the international human, humanitarian law. The striking balance between the military requirements for success and ethical frameworks is fundamental for lessening the damage and ensuring a moral way of the warfare. So by analyzing the ethical features of the weapon and the technology, we can argue the responsible ways to that considerate of human well-being and the global safety. So for the next one, we're going to say this is the humanitarian interventions mean the employment of the force to defend the civilians and stop war crimes in case in cases of armed conflict. The intervention justification circle around the responsibility to prevent the suffering of the vulnerable people from the mass atrocities and systematic human rights systematic human rights violations. However, interventions in conflict situation are often mired in complex legal and ethical problems. So for example, how can the military operation be reconciled with the long-term effects, or how can the state's sovereignties be respected? So, as the legal as the legal basis of the humanitarian intervention is formulated. So for the R2P is the responsibility to protect. It aims to balance humanitarian considerations and state sovereignty. So the ability to evaluate the achievements and side effects of past instances is what ethical analysis on the appropriateness and the correctness of using force to safeguard life is based on. Says in conclusion, the issue of the humanitarian intervention may be resolved by the establishment of moral guidelines that can be adopted by international authorities to deal with the global crisis and allow people to live safely. So for the moral subject of competence, the competence see ethical dilemmas as a duty in war. They have issue with the observance of international humanitarian law and the rules of engagements. The difference between the competence and the non-competence is the core of ethical conduct in battle, which protects civilian from any inhale. The prisoner of war also have moral entitlements like, human treatment and the right to due process. The question remains, how can these rights be protected? These military commanders are also charged up with the ethical duty of commanding the the actions of their subordinates, such as the proportional utilization of force and the reduction of the collateral damage. This discrep- discrepancies of irregular warfare make it more challenging for the actors, as who, besides being ethically correct, still have to uphold professional standards, verifying the moral competence standard as the basis for developing the ethical behavior and holding perpetrators accountable in times of war can be drawn. For the terrorism and the moral standards, so it is the three to the moral principles of the nonviolence in politics and the effects of the terrorism on the population of the surveillance, the ethical assessments of the terrorism entail the deliberate attacks on the surveillance and the violence of the fundamental human rights. The ethics of the state's responses to terrorism also raise the questions. For example, how far can go in the name of the security without affecting the civil liberties of the society. So the legitimization of the political violence goes against the traditional assumptions of warfare and the humanitarian regulations is necessitating a diverse set of the ethical arguments on the use of the terrorist attack tactics. Then negotiating with the terrorist groups poses the complex the moral questions, such as whether their legitimacy and the possibility of the political reconciliation should be considered. If we get involved in the moral status of the terrorism, we may craft constructive moral frameworks that will uphold the human rights and ultimately encourage the peaceful conflicts. So we talked about just post Bella. Just once the war is over, once it was over, the moral accountability does not stop. Thus, there is the need to focus on the rebuilding, reconciliation, and justice to overcome the post conflict consequences. It is crucial to have the moral convictions about the preserve, 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 pre, preserving the human dignity, the reconstructing the communities, and establishing the sustainable peace. For the case study, a study of the concurrent conflicts helps to understand how ethical concepts and principles are used in the practical situation. Reviewing the experience of the parents' worst and the present events is a way to take advantage of past heroes and achievements in making ethical decisions in future conflicts. For the critics of the just war theory, the critics proposed the new just war principles, which differ from the old approaches but provide more effective conflict resolution. The gender-related critics and diverse perspectives from non-state sources add unique views on how the shortcomings and flaws of the existing ethical frameworks are overlooked. So, looking to my conclusion about the One Piece ethics. So, to conclude, the ethics of war and peace are so, sophisticated issues that call for deep ethical thinking and conversation. Instead of getting involved in a conflict or war, we can develop an understanding of different perspectives and ethical theory that can help us to navigate the moral complexities of war and commit to making a more just and peaceful world. So, thanks for listening to my presentation and here is some references from my presentation.